Ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 1046 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americano newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of the meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular board meeting for Tuesday night, June 12, 2018.
If everyone can please stand for the flag salute, and if Board Member Norton can lead us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Board Member Norton. Roll call.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Present.
Ms. Gaddy.
Present.
Ms. Gomez.
Present.
Ms. Haynes.
Present.
Ms. Johnson. Ms. Norton.
Present.
Ms. Owens.
Present.
Mr. Padilla.
Present.
Chair Garcia.
Present.
Quorum is present, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And now we would like to bring greetings from Principal Dr. Douglas Petty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Douglas Petty, and I'm privileged to serve as the principal of Oliver Street School. I'd like to welcome all of our guests here today, including our parents, community members, faculty and staff, Interim Superintendent Gregory, Superintendent-elect Leon, and the Board of Education. If you haven't already noticed, I'd like to bring your attention to the slideshow highlighting some of Oliver's accomplishments this school year. They include students exploring different educational and career paths through our committed partnerships with our community, members, and organizations. Students coming together with a united voice during our National Student Walkout. Participating in 21st century cutting-edge STEM opportunities that include virtual labs, students to science, robotics, and an extensive K-8 curriculum. The widely successful and second Disney production of Aladdin. A trip around the world where students learned about other cultures, acceptance, and tolerance. Environment awareness through horticulture lessons and hands-on planting. Experience in the arts through various visual, instrumental, and vocal opportunities in sports that include basketball, soccer, volleyball, lacrosse, and now archery. Celebrations of traditions and holidays and academic excellence. Celebrations that include honor roll and super honor roll, a student's perfect park score, grants, attendance, second place STEM fair, first place bilingual Spanish, spelling bee, first place bilingual Portuguese spelling bee, third place math prediction station, a debate team that took first place in the experienced team division 4 out of 4 times, and many, many more. At Oliver High, standards and expectations for each student in regard to academic performance, co-curricular participation, and responsible citizenship are the foundation of our school. It is with pride that we hold these high standards and ask each of our students to commit to maintaining the extraordinary record of achievement and contribution that has been the legacy of Oliver Street School students. Data, rigor, relevance, and standards are certainly terms that are important and vital in the world of education, but so is the fun factor. So if I may, a short video showcasing exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, boys and girls, we just learned so many facts about astronomy.
Now you're going to go back to your seats, take out your books, read, and think about all the things that we've learned.
Hey, listen up! We just learned the planets. You should learn them too. There were 9, now there are 8. Because Pluto got removed. There's for inner and for outer.
Welcome again, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Principal Dr. Petty. And now we'll move on to recognitions. We have Vice Chair Dawn Haynes coming up for some recognitions. Does she have a mic? Rob.
Good evening, everyone. So our first recognition goes to, this is for Jonathan Austin, debate coach extraordinaire.
Is he here?
Jonathan Austin, where are you?
He was in the back. Not sure where he went.
Well, I don't want to read it if he's not here. Okay, well, let's give it a second. The proclamation is in recognition and appreciation of Brianna Aaron. See? And where's Brianna?
Jonathan?
Jonathan and Brianna? Come on up, please. Woo, let's hear it for him. Debate coach extraordinaire.
We would like to first acknowledge a phenomenal educator who is a legend in his own right. He is a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal debate coach and has inspired thousands of students and allowed them to pursue their dreams and continue their education. He's an Ivy League grad himself and extremely committed to students in the city of Newark. He is somebody who is committed to ensuring that they realize their dream. And so this board, under the leadership of our chairperson, Josephine Garcia, and our vice chair, Dawn Haynes, is acknowledging you for your dedication to students in the Newark Public Schools and on the Science Park debate team. Your ability to continuously create world-renowned debaters is second to none. We applaud your efforts and congratulate you on your long-standing record of success. Thank you, Mr. Austin, for everything you do.
So on behalf of Ms. Brianna Aaron, it reads, May 22nd, 2018, whereas Brianna Aaron is Newark Public School high school senior who was debate for the Science Park High School debate team since the 7th grade, successfully completing 6 international courses in high school, earned a curriculum grade point average of 4.45, proudly represents the West Ward of a wonderful city of Newark. Whereas Brianna Aaron has had an outstanding high school debate career, complete and qualified at major high school debate tournaments throughout the country, and made it the 5 final debate rounds at the largest and the most prestigious national high school debate tournament in the United States, Apple Valley High School Debate Tournament in Apple Valley, Minnesota, Greenbrooks High School Debate Tournament in Chicago, Illinois, Blake High School Debate Tournament in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Harvard Westlake High School Debate Tournament in Los Angeles, California, Emory University High School Debate Tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. Whereas Brianna Aaron is an extremely intelligent young lady who is dedicated to the next generation of Science Park High School debaters through training, inspiring, and coaching her teammates in great and unwavering, whose character is so rich and full that she has dedicated her time and efforts towards helping debaters from other Newark high schools when they are competing in elimination rounds, whose rhetorical punches swings so thoughtful, powerful, and amazingly that she has inspired her coaches and teammates to work even harder and even better. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newark Board of Education hereby commends and applauds Ms. Brianna Aaron and do hereby recognize and congratulate her for her hard work, dedication, accomplishments, and nationally #1 ranked high school debater in the country, product of Newark Public Schools and citizen of the great city of Newark.
Group photo. Okay, and now I would like to turn it over to Board Member Gaddy, who will be presenting certificates of achievements to the poster submission students for the 2018 Earth Day poster contest.
All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And as an environmentalist first, that's my job, paying job, I truly want to thank our students because I know they're going to be the future stewards of this earth. We have to leave this earth better for our future generations. And it is starting right here with our students in the Newark Public School District. So the first recipient for a Certificate of Achievement is presented to Ashley Guzman from McKinley School, 6th grade. She is the first place winner for the 2018. Yes.
Okay.
And it says, help me save the environment. I'm definitely going to help you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ashley. Great job. Would you mind? That'd be great. Thank you.
The next individual for a Certificate of Achievement is presented to Sydney Dodson. That's correct, Sydney? Arts High School, 9th grader, first place.
Oh, I like her garden. That one's nice. Oh, I want that poster.
Thank you.
For our Board Relations Office.
The next award is presented to Jackie Montero, McKinley School, 6th grade, second place winner.
I think she's here.
Is she?
Oh, the teacher's here.
The next Certificate of Achievement is presented to Kevon Smith, Central High School, 12th grade, second place winner. Kevin? You pronounce it Kevin or Kevon? Kevin Smith, apologize.
Is Mr. Smith here?
The next recipient of the Certificate of Achievement is presented to Trinity Johnson, McKinley School, 6th grade, 3rd place winner. And I want to thank Miss Ivina from McKinley Street School. Thank you. Students did a wonderful job. Congratulations. And the last but not least, certificate of achievement goes to Ashley Alanche, Arts High School, 9th grade, 2nd place winner. They all will be receiving gift certificates. And I want to show you this poster, just like so many of the others. This is just awesome. Look at that. This was really beautiful. Thank you. Congratulations. Along with each and every one of you. These will be on display, right? At the board, and we're going to try to have other places to showcase this talent. But I truly appreciate all of our students. We had so many entries, but you all represented Newark Public School very well. Thank you.
They didn't come back.
Okay, board members, I would like to see if someone can pass a motion so we can go into executive session, please, for personnel items.
Move it. I'm sorry, was that Bledsoe? Padilla, I'm sorry, second?
So we're not going to approve the minutes before we go into executive session?
We want to approve the minutes before the executive session.
Whatever you want to do.
If you're comfortable with that, board member Bledsoe, we can do that first.
Yeah, I would like to read the minutes and then also hear the student reps report.
That's what I was going to suggest, let the student report. Now,
They want to do the student reps report, or chair report. But then they're going to take us into...
Motion withdrawn.
Okay, let's talk out loud. So we'll continue with the agenda then?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Do we want to take them as a whole, or do you want to do it separately?
Take as a whole.
Okay. Is that Padilla, second?
Second. Bledsoe.
Second.
Okay, second, Bledsoe. This motion to vote on all minutes as a whole, moved by Mr. Padilla, second by Mr. Bledsoe. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Okay, that's to take them as a whole. I'm sorry.
abstain.
Ms. Gaddy
I was-
abstained.
Thank you.
Motion carries with Ms. Gaddy abstaining. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Bledsoe.
Second.
Norton. This motion to approve this May 10, 2018 public budget hearing, the May 15, 2018 business meeting, and the May 22nd, 2018 regular board meeting minutes. Moved by Mr. Bledsoe, second by Ms. Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Ms. Gaddy abstains. Motion carries. Minutes approved.
And now we'll move on to item 7.0, which will be our student representatives report. Gina Matos.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Today I'm feeling thousands of Okay, I'll make this well. I am feeling thousands of emotions. Leaving high school is already bittersweet enough, but leaving everything that comes along with my high school career makes this even harder. Serving as student representative has made me grow and even deeper my connection to my city, the students, the community members, and the stakeholders. It has given me a glimpse of the real world and has taught me that perspective really does matter, because I was able to learn different things sitting on the stage than I would as someone in the crowd. I realize that this is not the end for me, because I am just getting started. My role as a board member taught me that this is exactly what I want to do with the rest of my life, give back. I would like to thank the board members for their tremendous amount of support through this journey, as well as Ms. Deering and Dr. Williams for dealing with me in my hectic schedule, as well as everyone in the community, especially the students, that were always so generous and understanding. Lastly, but not least, my family for always being so supportive. Andre Ferreira. Where are you, Andre? Okay. I hope you learned from this experience and you're able to identify sooner rather than later that each person here is here as an outlet for you to expand your knowledge of the district. They will all be here to watch you grow. I understand there were things I could have done better, so I want to be the person to guide you and make sure you do better than what I have. Don't be afraid to speak up. Ask questions. Let people answer and then ask more. Well-behaved people rarely make history. It's okay to strike out and it's okay to be overwhelmed, but you will get through it. Never limit yourself. Network with as many people as possible. Reach out to students citywide. Develop your own cabinet and find a way to meet with them frequently. Set goals for your year and follow through with them. I have nothing but faith that you will make the students of Newark proud. Congratulations on this huge accomplishment. I want to end my report by saying the same thing that I will write on my graduation cap because of how meaningful it is and how much it has inspired me. Work hard in silence and let success make the noise. I wish this board and the city a lot of successful noise in the future as we prove ourselves worthy of local control. At this time, I would like to welcome up Andre for a few remarks.
So, good evening, Newark Public School community and families. It's truly a privilege to stand here today and become the voice of the students across the NPS district. Through this role, I hope to advocate for positive social change throughout every school building, as well as organize the students within the district, providing them the opportunity to voice their concerns and seek solutions to make a difference within our communities. Although we witness and overcome similar struggles in our urban city, the conditions within our schools can be seen through a different perspective for every child, and it's important to ensure that every student has the proper platform to tell their story. I envision a future in which students are proud to enter their school every day and learn in a proper academic environment with the supplies necessary to do so, feeling safe and important in our community. With this important task, I hope to make the future of every student brighter and bring about the change necessary to actually make a difference. Thank you, and at this time, may I come on stage and please shake the hands of all the board members.
Absolutely. Congratulations and welcome. He's done? She's done? You're done? Do any board members have any remarks for Gina Matos?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Board Member Bledsoe?
Gina, I just would like to congratulate you for serving on this board with grace. I'd like to thank you for your service to your fellow students, and you will be truly missed. Coming onto this board, you were the first student representative I got to know, and going forward, if I can do anything to assist you, please feel free to reach out. I also would like to congratulate Andre on being elected, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Bledsoe. Gina, I saw you earlier today exercising your right. She was out voting. I was like, oh, Gina. But I would like to also wish you the best at Rutgers and all your future endeavors. And if you ever need us, you know we're here for you. Don't forget where you came from, all right? I wish you the best.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Norton?
My mic work? Yes. So Gina, we haven't had a whole year to work with each other, but to watch you receive the Excellence Award last night representing Eastside, I know you're a dynamic, incredible young woman, and so congratulations on your future endeavors.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Owens?
So I just quickly wanted to echo all of the sentiments my other board colleagues said and just say good luck and congratulations.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Padilla?
Miss Gina, you're not as nervous today as you were on day one. It takes a while to get used to it. Andre, remember that. When you come and sit in this seat, you'll be nervous your first day, but after that, it's smooth, okay? But Gina, I really want to thank you for serving. It's not an easy task. I know it's not. And in my estimation, you have grown by leaps and bounds. You have. And congratulations on going to Rutgers. Both of my kids went there. Scarlet Knights all the way. Thank you.
Chair. Board Member Gaddy?
Gina, I too just want to congratulate you on your future endeavors. Rutgers is a great place to be. Had 4 years, it was great there on the New Brunswick campus. But I do want to thank you for taking the initiative for the rally, Save Our Lives. I was very appreciative for you organizing and jumping in. That is a serious issue that impacts our students, not only here in Newark, but throughout the state and the world. And you definitely took that role seriously, and you are a true leader. Thank you, and looking forward to you coming back.
Madam Chair.
Superintendent Gregory?
Gina, you represent the best of the best in the class of 2018. Community members and board members who were there last night. Last night, we recognized around 66 of our high school seniors throughout the city of Newark. Gina was a proud recipient of the Excellence Award. It should also be noted that Gina is also a graduate of the Rutgers Future Scholars Program. And she's been involved with that program since 7th grade and gets to go to Rutgers on a full ride. So I also genuinely appreciated your leadership during the month of March and April as you led our students and corralled them together for important issues around gun legislation. I commend you and wish you the best of luck, and I know this isn't the last we'll hear or see of you. Thank you.
Board Member Gomez?
I just want to say thank you, Gina, for serving on the board. I know we didn't serve together for very long, but I'm very proud of you, and I hope you feel welcome enough to come back again and visit us. Thank you.
No, I guess I have to say something too, right?
Vice Chair Haynes?
Thank you, Miss. I didn't get to work with you at all, Gina, but everybody else said it. You are an amazing young lady, and I'm just grateful that you are a product of our great city. And when you become whatever it is that God has for you to become, remember the little people. We'll have lunch sometime.
All right. Okay, thank you, everyone. And now we'll move on to the board chair's report. Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the last meeting of 2018-2019 school year. I want to take a moment to reflect on some of the many accomplishments of the board and the district. We've rectified contracts for CASA, Local 3, and 617. Approved the 2018-2019 budget, where the district received an additional $37.5 million. We also welcomed three new board members. We regained local control of the district, selected the first superintendent after more than 20 years under local control. I think that deserves a round of applause. Adjusted the school calendar based on feedback from many parents. We received the Financial Excellence Award for financial reporting for the 13th consecutive year. The district has launched a comprehensive assessment of the all NPS curricula for the change in the CUSAC guidelines effective July 2018. We are in the planning stages for a creation of a Parent Advisory Council. Central office relocated to its new home, 765 Broad Street. We opened the Technologically Advanced Student to Science Center, which is also located at 765 Broad Street. You guys should come and visit. It's an awesome location. Board members met all the required trainings, including Legislative Day in Trenton. We have been more consistent in recognizing the achievement of our students throughout the year. We hosted 2 March for Our Life events. One was successful rally at Military Park. Again, thank you, Gina, for organizing and inviting us all there. 2, we hosted a conversation at Science Park High School with the students from Parkland, Florida. There was a lot of work that was accomplished this year. I just want to take a moment to thank a few. Please join me, which we just did, but we'll do again, congratulating and wishing Gina Matos all the best as she continues as she blazes her new trails at the Rutgers Scholar Program. Again, congratulations, Gina Matos. Finally, I take this opportunity to thank the Interim Superintendent Gregory for his commitment to our students, families, and the board. You have done a great job, and we applaud you for the hard work and all the work you dedicated during this period. It has been a pleasure to work with you. I wish you continued success in your next chapter. I just want to know if a couple of board members would like to give some comments to Mr. Gregory.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Padilla.
Mr. Gregory, the first thing I want to say, it's really been a pleasure to have met you. I think that in your short time as interim superintendent, you did a magnificent job leading the district forward. You were very inclusive on the board with board members. You were always accessible. Everybody in your cabinet was always very accessible to us, and moving forward, I wish you nothing but the best of luck in anything that you do. Thank you for serving.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Owens.
Mr. Gregory, I also would like to thank you for all that you have done during this time period in this position as interim superintendent. We worked closely together even before this, having many conversations about curriculum, program, and instruction, which I always appreciated because you are an absolute and true educator, and you know that that is something that's very dear to my heart, but also something that's very important for us to have here in the Newark Public School District. So I just want to take the time to say thank you, and I know that you're continuing to do great things.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Gaddy.
And I too want to echo some of what my colleagues have said, and then I also want to thank you. Proud Norker came up the reins to lead this district as an interim superintendent. Always had an open door policy, an ear to come in and listen. You are definitely a leader in the educational field, trendsetter, and I appreciate all that you have done for our students, and hopefully you'll be here to continue.
Okay, at this moment, I would like to give Mr. Gregory a certificate that we have for him. Who has it? You want to bring it up? We have it. All right, guys. Thank you, Rob. All right, Newark Public Schools, Robert Gregory, Interim Superintendent, for your commitment and dedication to the students, families, and staff of the Newark Public Schools and this community. Josephine Garcia, Dawn Haynes, Board Member Bledsoe, Kim Gaddy, Yambly Gomez, Flohisha Johnson, Asia Norton, Leah Owens, and Tave Padilla. If you guys will come up so we can take a group picture, please. There you go. Sir, you're welcome. Yeah, and I'm not done. Thank you, board members, for the remarks and coming up for the photo. So as I continue, this has been a phenomenal year. And as a board, we are ready and committed to do the work to take the Newark Public Schools to the next level with the continued support of our students, families, community, and staff. Thank you, and this ends the chairperson's report. Next item. Okay, now we're going to go to item 9.0, which is the board resolution. Approval of the 2018-2019 board meeting calendar.
Motion. Madam Chair,
Board Member Bledsoe?
just one quick statement. I'm glad to see that we're actually going to be voting to approve this item. I just have one question. Who worked with you in developing this calendar?
Board Relations?
They met with you, they were going to go? Okay, all right.
Any questions regarding the dates?
No.
Okay.
Vice Chair Haynes moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Bledsoe. Any other discussion? Okay, so motion to approve the 1819 board meeting calendar, board resolution, item 9.0, moved by Vice Chair Haynes, second by Board Member Bledsoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carries, calendar approved.
And now we'll move to item 10.0, the superintendent's report.
Good evening to my esteemed board members and to the greater community. This is my last report of a phenomenal school year, and I'd also like to begin by thanking this community, the educators, the parents, all of the central office support staff, members of my immediate executive cabinet, the assistant superintendents, everyone in this community for providing me this extraordinary opportunity to serve during a historic time period here in the city of Newark. As you've heard me say on numerous occasions, we cannot do this work of education in silos, and it's important that we have community organizations and partnerships in all aspects of our community. One important aspect is our business partners and our philanthropic partners who fund a tremendous amount of programs for students throughout the Newark Public Schools, in addition to assisting us with professionally developing our educators throughout the school system. We have an individual tonight who is very near and dear to my heart, who has been a partner in this work for quite some time from the Victoria Foundation. He is here as the Assistant Executive Director. His name is Craig Drinker, and I'm going to ask Craig to come to the podium. If you don't know, now you will know, Victoria has provided the Newark Public Schools millions upon millions of dollars to extend phenomenal experiences to our students and educators. Craig is here to give us a report on some of the things that they are funding moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Drinker.
Thank you. I think I have probably one of the easiest jobs tonight because I come offering money to the district, not asking for money from the district. Again, my name is Craig Drinkett. I'm the Associate Director of the Victoria Foundation. And for those who may not know, just very briefly, we've been around since 1924, making Newark our primary funding area since 1962. Over the last 10 years, we have provided about $120 million in grant dollars in the city of Newark, with $50 million directly benefiting Newark students. What we recognized about a year or so ago is that when we looked at our education grant making, a lot of those dollars were not going into the traditional Newark public schools. So we made a shift in our grant making strategy. And last year, we had up close to $700,000 go directly to 24 NPS district schools, overall about $1 million going into the district. This year, what we did was we thought we would partner with some really talented local nonprofit groups, some intermediaries as they're called, to really focus on 4 areas: arts education, STEM, social emotional learning, and college access and success. And those groups are the Newark Arts Education Roundtable, Newark Thrives, Newark Trust for Education, and Schools That Can. And in this year, in total, I think the amount is about $800,000 going out the door to Newark, traditional Newark public schools. And we have a few groups that are, most of the groups are partnering with nonprofit partners in the city of Newark, but we have a few that are using the Newark Public School Grant Office as their fiscal sponsor. So we come tonight to seek the approval from the district to accept this money on behalf of those schools. And I just wanted to share just a couple of other notes, that some of the benefits of working with these intermediary partners is that they can provide a level of expertise and technical assistance that the foundation staff cannot provide these schools and the leadership in those schools. We had a tremendous technical assistance day this past Friday at the Bolden Center, in which all the school partners came together. And in those rooms, you can see just a popcorn of ideas that's taking place amongst all the school leaders. So we're very excited about how this can go. And we look forward to continuing this partnership with the district and with these intermediaries in the schools going forward for years to come. So again, if the board has any questions, I have the partners here with me. They can answer, or I can answer any questions that you all may have regarding this, these grants. All right.
We're very grateful. We would like to thank you. Thank you. Gracias.
All right. Well, thank you.
We look
so much.
forward to continuing our partnership with the Victoria Foundation.
And so do we. We look forward to working with this board and with the leadership of the district. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You deserve a standing ovation.
Yes, they do actually deserve a standing ovation.
They do.
But thank you, Victoria, for all that you do for our students and for the great city of Newark. As many of you know, as summer is approaching, our academics team has been focused on launching the summer enrichment program for our K-8 students and our high school credit recovery program for our 9 through 12 students. The next portion of my presentation, I'm just at a high level going to give you an idea of what summer school looks like this summer for all of our students from first grade to 12th grade. Our elementary program, as you may or may not know, is known as the Summer Plus program. It's offered to 1st through 8th graders across the city of Newark. It's a 4-week-long program beginning on July 9th and concluding on August 3rd. The doors open at 8:30 a.m. From 9 to 12 p.m., there's an academic enrichment program. And then from 1 to 3, there's actually an enrichment program that extends beyond the academics. That enrichment program is supported by community-based partners who also stay for the extended day program, which is from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just to give you an idea of what type of CBOs are involved with our Summer Plus program. We have the Ironbound Community Corporation, who supports schools like Oliver and Hawkins Street. We have Aspira in the North Ward, who supports Elliott and McKinley. We have the YMCA in our South and West Ward schools, and 13th Avenue is supported by the phenomenal After School All-Stars program. There are a total of 10 summer school sites for our 1st through 8th grade students, and we service roughly around 2,800 of them. In addition to our Summer Plus programming, there are some special programs that occur over the summer. One is our extended school year program for our students with disabilities. There's roughly around 425 students served in 3 campuses throughout the city in the extended school year program. In our English Plus program, we have over 475 of our ESL and bilingual learners who stay for the summer to continue immersing themselves in the English language and honing in on their critical thinking skills. And finally, last but certainly not least, across all 5 of our South Ward community schools, we have an additional summer enrichment program that works with a tremendous amount of the community-based partners who are all a part of the South Ward Community Schools Initiative. So overall, from kindergarten through 8th grade, we are expecting to serve roughly around 4,500 students this summer through our Summer Plus program. The next slide just gives you an idea of where those programs are held and what type of programs are at each of those locations. As you know, over the past couple of years, we've been focused on raising our high school graduation rates. And we do that. One part of our core strategy is through credit recovery. That's just not credit recovery for seniors, obviously credit recovery for 9th through 12th graders. We began tracking credits for all 9th, 10th, and 11th graders roughly around 2 years ago, which has allowed us to see a tremendous increase in our graduation rates. We have high school credit recovery programs in 2 locations, Science Park High School and Central High School. At our credit recovery programs, students are offered an opportunity to take courses that they may have failed throughout the school year in an effort to keep them on track to graduate on time. In addition to credit recovery, at each of these sites, we have an opportunity for students to take accelerated courses. Those accelerated summer courses provide them an opportunity to earn additional credits going into the following academic school year. Moreover, at sites like Uplift Academy, we have what's called a mental toughness program. These are for our students that we view as our opportunity youth, students who at some point throughout their school career have been disengaged and are in a unique program that allows them to accumulate credits in a 2-year period of time in an effort to graduate them from high school before the age of 18 or 19. In addition, we've listened loud and clear to this community and have focused on coming back to a summer reading program. I have provided you a list of 4 to 5 titles in each grade level that our high school students will be reading over the summer. They are diverse titles. They are definitely culturally relevant, and try to appease our diverse population here in the city of Newark. Our big challenge to our high school students is to read for 20 minutes every day. Reading takes many different forms. One of the things we did this year, again through an amazing partnership with Audible, is we gave every high school student their own tablet. On that tablet, there are 150 titles that were selected by teachers throughout the school district of Newark that all of our students have access to. This Audible partnership, again, allows our students to fall in love with the world, but more importantly, this whole notion of humanity, how we exist as human beings in a democratic society. And it also allows them to see the world. Oprah Winfrey often said as a child growing up in Mississippi that she could see beyond the limitations of where she was growing up based on what she read. Reading took her around the world before she could physically see it for herself. To highlight that Audible partnership, this morning, I don't know if any of you caught it, but several of our students were on CBS Good Morning America, and all of them have been reading a book by a phenomenal comedian by the name of Trevor Noah. That book is called Born a Crime. I just want to show you a brief clip of what appeared on the news this morning.
From Switzerland during the apartheid era, or as Trevor says, apartheid, when those relationships were illegal in South Africa. Today, his story is really resonating with high school students in Newark, New Jersey. Why? Because Noah's best-selling audiobook, Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood, was chosen for Newark's first citywide school listening club. This is big. It's part of Audible's Project Listen Up. The program provides free Audible memberships and tablets to all Newark high school students and their teachers. So we asked a few students the other day how Noah's story inspired them.
He talked about people from the ghetto like to get out the ghetto, but instead he wanted to transform it. And I feel like that just spoke so much to me, since I want to transform this world to a better place.
No matter what I go through, no matter what I'm facing, no matter what life brought to me, no matter what challenges or trials, I can make it.
Look where Trevor is today. He came from literally being born a crime, and he's this successful person here who didn't let his hardships affect who he became in the future.
Wow. Trevor Noah joins us at the table with your heart intact. Good to see you.
Can I ask that Kelly Antonakis and anyone else that worked on the Audible Project Listen Up, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Kelly, I see you in the back there. Stand up. Former teacher at Arts High School, now working with our English language department. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to just talk about some end of the year highlights in 4 particular areas. Those 4 areas that have been the focus that I've chosen to zero in on during my interim superintendency has been to strengthen our community of learners. That is to ensure that adults are learning and adults who service our kids are at the center of our strategy in moving the district forward. We've also focused a tremendous amount on STEM education and ensuring our kids are offered critical thinking experiences that not only ignite their curiosity, but allow them to innovate and solve real-world problems. Another focus of my interim superintendency has been to make sure we are inclusive and including and recognizing all of our students, especially our most fragile, some who are often ignored. And last but certainly not least, we've certainly wanted to reward excellence and highlight some of our phenomenal educators and students around this whole notion of high expectations for all. As it relates to strengthening our community of learners, on June 2nd, 2 Saturdays ago at NJIT, we hosted our first ever district-wide spring colloquium. This was an absolutely phenomenal event, orchestrated and organized by our academic teams. It was an idea that I stole from my first assistant superintendent, who is now our highly skilled professional, Ms. Anzella Nelms, who used to do it for School Leadership Team 1. I wanted to take the spirit of what Ms. Nelms did roughly 20 years ago, which inspired me to become a better teacher, and bring that to educators across the district. We had roughly 25 teachers, administrators, and other educators present best practices in 4 areas. And it was on a Saturday at NJIT. Several board members came to support the event. We also highlighted some students, and we had a phenomenal keynote speaker who spoke about equity and the importance of it in 21st century learning. Another event that was phenomenal that we hosted back in April was called Curiosity. This event was targeting middle school educators across the city of Newark, and we had Angela Duckworth from the University of Pennsylvania come along with 3 other phenomenal speakers from around the globe who came to meet with our middle school educators about igniting the curiosity in our students and the importance of having a problem-based approach to learning and ensuring that the things kids are learning are actually relevant to their lives. That event was not only attended by NPS educators, middle school educators, but we actually had people from New Brunswick, from Camden, who heard about the event and came all the way to learn with our teachers at NJPAC. The reason I think it's important to highlight venues like NJIT and NJPAC is it shows that we are no longer working in our silos. Instead, we are working with community partners to strengthen our schools. We've also, a couple weeks ago, recognized over 66 educators. That was teachers, in some cases clerks, custodial workers, for the phenomenal work they do with our students. And in the future, we are investing in leadership development programs that Mr. Leone will ensure occurs during his superintendency. As it relates to STEM and innovation, some of the things I'd like to highlight that have occurred this past month. Just last week, all middle school students in roughly around 25 6 through 8 schools in Newark celebrated our 2nd annual STEM Week. This was a program sponsored and supported by I2 Learning, where students literally drop everything they are doing for a week across these 25 schools, and they engage in a week-long of problem-solving tasks and innovation to allow them to build different projects. We culminated this event last week at Ridge Street. Several board members were there to see the amazing science projects that the students created. This year, we also hosted our 1st annual district-wide STEM fair. That was at Rutgers University. Again, a phenomenal event for students in 2nd through 12th grade. That event, I must note, was inspired by one of our assistant superintendents who the previous year hosted a network-based STEM fair, and that was Mr. Erskine Glover. So I'd like to acknowledge you, Erskine, and thank you for inspiring us to do things around the district. We also, last week, which was just a busy week, we had over hundreds of students at Harold Wilson engage in a K through 12 trimathlon. Kids from various schools in the city of Newark came together to do some incredibly difficult and challenging math problems, and it was amazing at what these kids could actually solve and accomplish. As our board chair indicated, we've opened our Students to Science Center in the basement of 765 Broad Street. This again has some amazing partners and offers our students real-world science experiments. And then we've incubated some career and technical education courses at the middle school level this year through partnerships we've formed with with NJIT and Essex County Urban League at Sussex Avenue School. We had our first middle school Kids Who Code program, which was an 8-week program where students from NJIT came to work with our middle schoolers at Sussex Avenue to help them learn varied computer programming languages. What's important about this event is from Sussex, the program is now expanding to 5 to 6 other middle schools, and NJIT students will be involved with helping us grow this program. We also have a couple of girls this summer who have 8 girls have received a full scholarship to the Girls Who Code program here in the city of Newark. And next year, through some of our strategic investments, with our budget this year, every high school student will be receiving another device. This is a 1-to-1 ratio. It is a drastic move that high schools have been trying to figure out how to do around the United States of America. We're doing it here in Newark next year. As it relates to inclusivity at schools, as indicated earlier, we had a multilingual spelling bee that I had the pleasure of attending last year. It was a phenomenal event where students participated in the spelling bee in both English, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Those were kids throughout the city of Newark, our bilingual and ESL students. Also, our parents in CPAC recognized special ed teachers throughout the city of Newark at a North Ward Center event. We had more students than ever before participate in the Special Olympics, and I'm proud to say that an autistic student at American History High School was the first kid ever to place in the swimming competition at this Special Olympics last week. This year, we also hosted an LGBTQ event at the Newark Museum. That was a result of a grant inspired by one of our board members, Mr. Reginald Bledsoe, who gave us a charge to do more for this community. I'd like to thank Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan and Kelly Williams, who I saw here at some point, for organizing this event. Let's give them a round of applause. And last week at Eastside High School, we had an Undocu event for students who are interested in attending college but have yet to receive their citizenship. This was a phenomenal partnership with Rutgers University, and there's been a series of events occurring throughout the year to support our undocumented students. And so one of the strategic investments we made with the additional money that we received, and this was again something very near and dear to my heart, is to make sure we are offering more support to our special ed, our bilingual education students, and most importantly, giving the students the mental health treatment that they deserve in the form of student supports in all of our schools next year here in the city of Newark. Last but certainly not least, we have to recognize excellence. Last night, pretty much every board member joined us as we recognized 66 phenomenal high school seniors at the Newark Museum. It was just an awesome event to read the biographies of these kids, to see where they are continuing their education, to see how they have defied the odds and and have overcome some extremely challenging, extraordinary events in their lives to get to where they are. So I'd like to thank all of our board members for joining us at that event last night. It was fun, a lot of fun. Something else that I did out of my office personally through some partnerships I have with varied philanthropic partners in the city is I funded juniors in high school to go to some of the most prestigious colleges this summer. in an effort to ensure that they have a seat in those colleges upon graduation next year. So we are sending from roughly around 5 schools students to Stevens Institute of Technology this summer. There's over 10 students participating in this program. That's one of the best STEM schools in the United States of America, and we wanted to make sure that they took advantage of the opportunity that was very expensive, but we got some philanthropic support to make sure they were on that campus this summer. Also, at Princeton University, funding around 12 of our high school juniors to go to the W.E.B. Du Bois Scholars Program at Princeton University. This is an old partnership we had in the school district years ago that I wanted to make sure we bring back so that we can ensure more of our scholars are on Ivy League campuses upon graduation. Some of our arts high school students will be attending the prestigious Berkeley College Music Summer Program, and we continue to partner with organizations like Chad Foundation to ensure kids go on to college with 4-year scholarships. So, what can we expect in August or September? I'm going to make a very big, bold prediction that I hope not to be wrong, but I'm confident we won't be wrong in that prediction. And that is that our graduation rates will continue to rise again this year. The goal is to be over 80%, which would make Newark have one of the highest graduation rates amongst all urban centers across the United States of America. So these are a few highlights to what has been a phenomenal year, a phenomenal learning experience for me. I would like to thank all of our board members for giving me this opportunity. I can't tell you how much I learned over the course of the last 5 months. I'd also like to thank my cabinet, all cabinet members. If you would stand and be recognized for your support, that's okay, stand up. All right, nobody's gonna shoot you. A special shout out to my 2 executive assistants, Mr. Elijah Griffith. Is Elijah here? Yes, he is. Okay, stand up, Elijah, please. So this young man, young man, literally supported me 7 days a week and helped organize my life. He is an absolutely phenomenal young man, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, Elijah. Okay, thank you. And also, William Garrett. William, are you back there, otherwise known as Billy? Billy. So, come on out, Billy. All right. Come out here. Go, Billy. So, Billy has had the pleasure of driving around every superintendent since Beverly Hall, all right? So you want to talk about somebody that has a whole lot of information? That's the man right there, okay? He also crashed our car this year. No, I'm joking. But thank you to Billy and Elijah for all of your support. Again, my cabinet members, you guys are phenomenal. This board, you have been an amazing support to me. The community, you guys have been extremely supportive, and it has literally been a true honor to serve in this capacity. As I exit this stage, I would like to bring up a phenomenal educator who has made history here in the city of Newark. He will serve as your next superintendent of the Newark Public Schools, your first under local control. I'm going to pass the mic to Dawn Haynes, who will introduce incoming Superintendent Roger Leal.
Okay, where do I start? For the next 3 years, we have decided to have Mr. Leon lead our schools, lead us into the direction, lead us into the sunrise of a brand new Newark Public School District, and we're grateful to have him. As the vice chair, I am dedicated to working in every capacity we need to make sure that our children get exactly what they deserve throughout our school district. With my Madam Chair, I am grateful for the opportunity to let it be known publicly that we really appreciate you, Mr. Leon, and we're grateful for your service. And without further ado, we would like to welcome you on stage.
Good evening. So I'm going to accept that seat on July 1. Mr. Gregory, please come forward. So it's extremely important for everyone who's here, Madam President, Madam Vice President, members of the board, for you to join me in this very special moment. It comes too many a time in this school district where we have experienced the transition since the start of 1995 through several superintendents. And part of what we wanted to model during this time period is the smoothest transition of all of the transitions. While there have been others that have been risen to a level that we will definitely be required to compete against to make it as smooth as humanly possible. Our commitment has been to do nothing less than that and to actually raise the bar higher, not necessarily for another transition, but for an actual number of years where we will work collaboratively, not only folks in the administration, but with our entire community, every stakeholder being a critical partner in the work. And, I just wanted to take this opportunity while the board has already recognized Mr. Gregory for his work during this transition to join the board at this time in thanking him for his work, letting him know how proud I am of everything that he's done, and in particular during these last couple of weeks, working collaboratively with me to make sure that I am an understanding of all of the work that has been accomplished, to know where the bar is, and to know that he works collaboratively with me in raising it higher. So I wanted to ask, while I know the board has already recognized Mr. Gregory, I think for a number of reasons, if you could kindly please just join me in one more recognition of Mr. Gregory, as well as with everyone in this community. Please, a big round of applause.
No, he said he's leaving you here. July 1st. Sit down. You're not abandoning us tonight, all right? You can't do that. Yes. Listen, you can keep that. Not the gavel.
I will.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to item 11.0, which is public participation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the public participation portion of the meeting. As a reminder, time limits for all speakers are enforced. No sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. Speakers are required to give their names and addresses. The public participation portion at this business meeting will be limited, this regular meeting will be limited to 90 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that will not be permitted include but are not limited to naming district employees and engaging in personal attacks, slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempting to disrupt the meetings, or inciting others to do so. Public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public the opportunity to address the board and the administration on issues of public concern, not as a forum for a two-way dialogue with the board members or district officials. The superintendent designee or Madam Chair may respond to questions either at the end of the session or responses may be provided at a later time. The superintendent designee or Madam Chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any speaking privilege if the comments are disruptive or obscene. An individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and the individual may be liable for his or her statements. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board members or district officials, repetitive and truculent speech, or other disregard for rules of decorum are not tolerated and may subject the individual group to removal from the meeting. If necessary, the meeting may be adjourned.
Ready? Up there? We'll go with speaker number 1, Choena Vincent. Not appearing? Not appearing. We'll move on to speaker number 2, Bradley Goma. Oh, Yamblis Boema, sorry.
Hello, Bradley Gomia. Just so you know.
Okay.
I say like my address or something, right? It's 11 Clarion Lane, Newark, New Jersey. All right. So first, I would like to congratulate the student representative on their victory and wish them wish them good luck on representing us as a district. Just a recap on the voting process. On the voting for the student representative, while we are up from last year's 1,237 votes to this year's 1,392 votes, there's still a massive amount of students that weren't able to participate in voting for the student representative who is supposed to represent all of them. And I would just like to say we need to do a lot better next year. I myself have worked to increase the number of votes at my school and by telling other schools and principals about it. But I think there's something that we can do as a collective across the district. I know each school has like Chromebooks and stuff. There's ways to increase the accessibility for students to be able to vote for their student representative. The next thing I would like to talk about is possibly getting the student representative the ability to vote. I know I've talked about this before at other meetings, and I would just like to pull up 3 reasons why, or justifications why this is getting the student representative to be able to vote on the board is something that we should push for. The first is the students already don't have much of like a say in or an ability to affect the policies that influence our day-to-day lives, and having the student representative themselves not only be able to have their time to speak in front of the board, but also be able to actually change the policies, because it's not enough to just have a voice. We need to have the actual ability to check and affect the policies that affect us. The second thing is an increase in voter participation and civic engagement as a whole is something that is needed across Newark, not only with students, but with the adults as well. It's evident in our last board election that not a lot of people are voting. And I think we can start by, start to influence that by actually teaching the students that voting is important, and it's only important for us to vote for a student representative if that student representative can do things for us. The third thing, well, I'm just gonna skip that. Now I just have a few questions. I wanna know what legal action can be taken to ensure that this happens. Who on the board can I talk to make sure it happens, and who is willing to work with me? And I think it happens on a state level, so yeah. Who wants to work with me and stuff?
Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Owens.
Thank you. I know usually I wait to the end, but just because it's a student and not, I just like to quickly respond. Bradley, thank you for coming up to speak this evening. So I just wanted to say that I don't know if you're connected with the Abbott Leadership Institute Youth Media Symposium. So I think it was last year, maybe even this exact month, that they actually came and spoke in front of the board, and they had a petition as well around that same issue being, connected to that issue, having a larger student voice. So I would just say, if you are not familiar with YMS, I can definitely get you in contact with them, just as a way to continue to organize other students, and then we'll try to have more conversation as a board to figure out how we can make that happen. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Gaddy. Thank you, Board Member Owens.
And I just want to add, Bradley, that I commend you for coming before us and informing us of your concerns and issues and the importance of engaging other students throughout the district. I think that is so very important. And I would hope, first of all, that you work side by side with our student representative, because that will be his responsibility. And I had a brief conversation. He said the exact same thing to us earlier, that he wanted to engage more voices of the students in a whole. So I think that is the first opportunity. And then to have a sit down with the chair and the vice chair as to what committee and they would like this to fall under. I would think community engagement, or maybe establish an ad hoc committee with the student representative and some board members. But continue the work that you're doing, agitate, and get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Gaddy and Board Member Bledsoe.
I just wanted to say to Bradley that if he is a part of an organized student council, that there is an opportunity for you to become the student representative for the state of New Jersey's State Board of Education. So I did mention this to Board Relations, that I would work with them to possibly get your name into that category to potentially be a candidate for that position.
Okay. That's it. Now we'll move on to the next speaker, Michael Iovino.
Yeah.
Nancy here? Nope. Nancy? Not present. We'll move on to the next speaker, Christopher Kanick.
Hello, my name is Christopher Kanick. I work at Central High School. My address is 155 Berkeley Avenue in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I'm here tonight to talk about the same thing I've been talking about for years now, which is the marginalization of special needs students in this district. I also am here tonight, I feel, to congratulate Roger Leone on his successful bid for the superintendent position and his subsequent unanimous election by the school board, which renews some of my hope in the ability to work together to find both unified and diverse solutions to real problems in the district. One of those real problems that I've heard disacknowledged in recent times due to this rhetoric, this positional statement, it's not us versus them. That's the language that keeps coming up anytime charter schools are mentioned in the district, charter school parents, etc. And I want to make it very clear that I don't blame charter school parents for sending their children to schools that are better equipped, more often fully staffed, and fully funded, both at the state and the local level. But I have to tell you, I come here tonight absolutely and unfathomably exhausted, because every single day at Central High School, we deal with a special needs population that's 26% of the total population. For the people in this room, I want you to realize that the district as a whole only has 16% special needs rate. 26% is so much higher than that. It's simply unconscionable. And it's all under this guise of, oh, well, Central High School offers programs. Shabazz offers programs. Weekway offers programs. And the special needs rate just gets higher and higher. I saw North Star's special needs rate just brushed 9% this year, which means that consistently over the course of their entire time in this district, they've never once come close to the rate of special needs students, despite the massive fiscal advantages that they enjoy. It's time to establish programs if you're one of those groups. And there are people sitting on the board today who have great influence in those groups, who are friends with members of those groups. And I'm not sure why it's not happening, but it's not. And this is at least 2-3 years now where my final talk of the year is about exactly the same thing. I hope that I don't have to be so consistent next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. And we'll move on to the next speaker. Darren Martin.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
So congratulations, Brother Roger. So let me get to my point. The smooth transition can only happen, Brother Roger, if we do something about One Newark Enrollment Center, which is a travesty and a disaster. So if you're not going to be talking about that, it can't be a smooth transition. Second, we got to do something about the rubber room, the crazy punishment of educators in this city. Some people have sat through this for years on this, they're still on this stage and don't do anything about it. So Roger, you've been here for a while too, so I expect that you will do something since you're a homeboy, so you're now in that seat. Now, this Parent Advisory Council, interesting. Who's gonna be picking these people? Is it only gonna be people that's cool with the board? Because I remember the School Leadership Council, which I was a part of, other people in this room was a part of, and it was really effective back then, but until they started handpicking who they want to be on it. So I'm interested to see what that transition is gonna be. We also need real community engagement, not somebody that the board likes, or the superintendent likes, or whoever that likes. It has to be real community engagement where you actually engage in the community and talking to people and relating with them. We have to talk about school safety. It's all over the country. So, Roger, that's another thing you're gonna have to put on your agenda while you're taking notes over there, brother. School safety has to be dealt with. School lunches. I have no idea what's going on in Newark with the school lunches. It looks like something that you can't even eat. So we have to do something about who is the delivery of food in this system is horrible. And all of you guys know about it. So let's do something about it. Finally, Roger, we have to restore accountability and transparency in this district. Let's be clear. There was a Title VI civil rights complaint filed against this district under Cammy Anderson, and although their lawyers like to dance around things to say, we're not gonna admit any wrongdoing, doesn't mean you're not guilty. You're still guilty. They were guilty of misrepresenting kids in this district. And that's a guilty, because they had a whole outline of things they had to do. So let's be clear. Again, some people sitting on that stage sat through this whole thing and didn't do anything. Roger, you was here too, so I'm gonna hold you accountable. All of you guys will be held accountable. So we have to do something about these items. You can't start any smooth transition without doing something about this One Newark Enrollment Center. Parents, I was talking to parents today about this very thing. They put their choices up there, and it's almost like the racial steering was with real estate years ago, where they steered them to where they want them to go. Something got to be done about that.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Now we'll move on to the next speaker, Deborah Smith-Gregory.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Deborah Smith-Gregory, and I serve as the president of the Newark branch NAACP. And I too, first, I want to say to Gina, thank you for your service in and out of school. You were a lot of places as a representative for the students. So you have left a tall order for your the next student rep. In terms of Interim Superintendent Robert Gregory, I want to personally thank you for stepping up at a very difficult time. Chris Cerf was the ringmaster of a lot of things that were going on, and you stepped in and stepped up so that he could be gone. And that was the beginning of us realizing what local control can be about and should be about. I want to say congratulations to my friend, Roger Leone. I know that this is a tall order that you have been planning for a very long time and working to show the world, not just Newark, but the world, how great Newark is. So I want to say congratulations. Just two brief items. This is just to piggyback on what Mr. Martin just said that he may not be aware of. I want to commend Board Member Tave Padilla, Leah Owens, and Kim Gaddy for holding the One Newark meeting to ensure that we have every piece of information that we need to have about One Newark so that we can dismantle it. We have to do it in a responsible way. You have shown that responsibility. Yes, it needs to be replaced, no doubt. But the systematic process that you have put in place and that you're also sharing with the rest of your colleagues because they're not familiar with the process, you are to be commended. And I wanted to also say that I'm still standing on the idea that there still needs to be a full operational audit of this district. Superintendent Leon, I think that it is something that needs to happen so that whoever is in charge, they are being held accountable for what they've done and not what was done before they got there that they didn't know about. And then finally, I just want to say the good things. May I just finish, please? Yes. I just want to say good things happen in Newark. This book, like Vanessa, is written by a young lady who graduated from high school here in Newark. It is a Junior Literary Guild selection, and what she says in it is what all teachers want to hear. My incredible teachers, she's thanking people, at University High School, Marie Gironda, Darnell Davis, Ketsi Rivera, and Wanda Boxley. You lit a fire in me that still burns today. Right. And this is the kind of work that Newark can do, and we look forward to moving Newark forward and all of our students, including the special ed, including the general ed and the ELL. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith Gregory. Now we will move on to the next speaker, Ramon Melendez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ramon Melendez. My address is 24 Eagle Street, Newark, New Jersey. I have a few concerns tonight. Of course, our high schools do need a lot of work, and so as many of our other schools here in Newark. But one in particularly where I'm still really tied into is my high school that I graduated from, American History. And I had students complain to me time and time again about things that are happening. As of next year, they will have completely, totally new English teachers. Every teacher that was there this year will be moved out of the school. I don't know where they're going. I don't know why they're moving. I don't know what the district had planned, but they will have new high school English teachers for the freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior classes. I think that's relatively terrible that our own English teachers or any of our teachers can't stay in the high school for more than a year or so. Another thing is we have a new principal, Mr. Denard. He has never been a principal before, but he is now a principal at American History. That's a problem, because first when Mr. Gregory left as principal, we had I forgot just how to spell his last name. He was from Connecticut. And when I first went to go see him and have a meeting with him, because there were certain concerns from the students, I was denied. After a while, I had to leave, of course, because I'm also a student, and I had to worry about my own problems. When I came back and asked if anything has changed, now we have a new principal who probably doesn't know what to do because he's never been a principal before. So my thing is, did he have any training? Did he discuss anything with any of our new vice principals when he came? My problem was we have 2 vice principals in that high school to this day that were there since the beginning. and they have been shut out even to even think of being the principal of that school. My other problem is the media production teacher next year will become the art teacher. I don't see how those two play into each other, and I just want to know how come we can't just hire an art teacher. My other point is the safety. When I was in high school, Mr. Gregory, along with some other efforts of myself, had to go to the police station to get squad cars outside the school because our students would get jumped by other schools, especially on the transition on going home. So since that's happening this year, and most of the students don't talk about it because the school won't do anything about it, is there a way that we can actually get back squad cars on the corners of those streets that we had them at? And if you need help, I mean, I am willing to help you. And just congrats to Mr. Leon on becoming superintendent, and I hope, and I will have you accountable for any other things that we need done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Next speaker, Sheila Montague. What do we have here? Next speaker, Paula Lotito.
Good evening, and once again, congratulations, Mr. Leon. My name is Paula Lotito from Robbinsville, New Jersey, special needs teacher from the Spencer Miller Community School. On April 20th of this year, I was terminated from my position and the Newark Public School District due to alleged unprofessional conduct and denied a Donaldson hearing due to multiple misunderstandings. Aside from the information I have provided you in these binders, which, if I may respectfully, I'd like to hand one to each and every one of you, I'm going to be totally transparent, and here are the irrefutable and complete facts. Number one, since January of 2016, the vast majority of observations and reviews of my work under two different administrations received effective ratings. The partially effectives were received only this year in spite of self-corrections. Two, current administration is not fully aware of the needs of my kids, and as a result, reacts to certain behavior patterns without comprehension as to why they behave the way they do on a daily basis. Most recently, a heavily medicated 5-year-old was expected to be more attentive than physically possible. This was a direct factor in my most recent review. Number three, as of April 26, I was consciously denied guided reading professional training, which enables my students how to read for comprehension. This was also cited in my review. At no time did an administrator follow through with any of their action plans to support me. Number four, while in front of my kids and another aide, I was physically attacked by the second aide that is still employed in the district. The current administration prematurely assumed it was provoked by me. All documentation, including the police report, are in the binder that I respectfully would like to give to you. Number five, while I was waiting for a transfer period to begin, I was terminated. In my 2.5 years happily employed in Newark, I was never questioned, cited, nor reprimanded for professional conduct or performance. Six, two current teachers, the current case manager, the literacy coach, one of my students' outside therapists, and the previous principal have all written letters referencing my character as an effective educator. In summation, I am respectfully requesting a hearing to have a district decision reversed of my termination, and as well as the defaming language in the letter removed. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lolito. And the binders that you have for the board members, if you can hand them to board relations, thank you so kindly, and they'll share that information with us. We'll move on to the next speaker, Anna Valentine. Thank you. Thank you, yes, yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not present. We'll move on to the next speaker, Craig Smith. Not present. We'll move on to the next speaker, Yvette Jordan.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Yvette Jordan. I live at 47 Wilbur Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. I'm a teacher at Central High School. The reason I'm here, I'm talking about an issue I think is rarely mentioned, and that is donor days for faculty and other members of NTU. On March 7th, I had an emergency surgery, and with that, I had several other issues. So normally, my surgery would have had me out for, 5 days. I was out for over 30 days. I had several teachers who said, if you need days, I will send them to you. So I exhausted my time since I'm an only child of a parent who has Alzheimer's. So I had no time. In addition, when I sent all of my information in, I was informed, unless you have a terminal illness or something catastrophic, you will not receive your days. Somebody sent you, donated. So I don't know if anybody is aware of this. I've asked other people, and they were unaware. I went all the way up to the head of health services. She said there was a meeting and that she was informed I'm not eligible. Unfortunately, I wasn't. However, I have Aflac, so I'm happy about that. However, I'm sure several of my peers are not aware of this. Somebody should find out about this. I found in my union contract a line you should be aware of. Excuse me. And it's on page 40. It's about exhausted sick days. It says a sick bank shall be established in accordance with NJ 18A 30.11. And sick bank shall replace the donor day policy. However, the union and the district should formulate this, establish this. I don't know if it's happened. Somebody should figure it out, though. Please. Not only for me, I've heard other people have had similar circumstances, and no one is saying anything. I'm saying something now. Mr. Leon, congratulations, and Mr. Gregory, it was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. We'll refer your concern to our HR department and labor. Next speaker, Jason Gardner. Next speaker, Patricia Anthony.
Hi, my name is Patricia Anthony. I am a teacher from Newark Public Schools. I currently, today, teach at Arts High School. And ironically, right in this room, February 28th, I came to a Newark Teachers Union meeting to meet with the newly appointed Interim Superintendent Robert Gregory. And during the Q&A session, I asked the question. I said, why in a district that primarily has African American and Latino students are we still using a textbook that's pretty much devoid of African American and Latino literature? Mr. Gregory, to his credit, said, yeah, when I was a teacher, I noticed the same thing. And when I became assistant superintendent, I mandated that they reduce the amount of collections units that English teachers are required to use. He said, also, I'm going to call your vice principal and let him know that we have changed that standard. I was told we had to use 4 collections unit, and I think that's still the policy now. My vice principal never received that call. the policy about that hasn't changed. So when I saw nothing was happening, I got busy. I emailed Superintendent Gregory, who I believe was sincere about his interest in maintaining a culturally relevant curriculum. I also emailed Leah Owens. She responded. I emailed Ms. Gaddy. I called the mayor's office. I emailed the mayor's office. After banding about a while with the mayor's office, I finally got a firm commitment from them that, yeah, they're going to get behind this because it's important. I like what this young man said. He said that he wants to be a part of a district where when students walk into their school, they feel important. But how important do students feel when the majority of the time they open up a textbook, the literature that they're reading isn't by people that look like them, isn't about people that look like them. And I continued my efforts to get people on the board and people at NPS to change this practice. And I'll tell you their response. They fired me. So currently, from what I understand, I won't be teaching in Newark as of June 18th. And instead of celebrating teachers who try to impact positively the quality of the education that students receive, they are punishing teachers. And let me just make sure that everybody in this audience is clear. I did a study on the collection text. It can't be. It can't be. That's too quick. Everybody was up here much longer than that. So, of the required readings for the 9th, 10th, and 12th grade collections anchor text, which is what the Newark English teachers are required to read, there are only 32 different selections. There are only 6 African-American authors and 0 Latino authors. This needs to stop. And in terms of my employment with NPS, it might not sound like I want my job, but of course, like any adult in here, I need an income. But understand, NPS, when some of us say no sellout, we mean no sellout. I am not going to sell out these young people.
The other speakers who are waiting to speak, thank you so much.
Yeah. Did that 3 minutes go really fast? It seemed like it went really fast.
Vanessa Roper, if you're present,
I am going to
please come up.
stop. Let me finish, please. I will be following up. And other community members will be following up also, because African-American children, students, and Latino students need African-American and Latino literature.
Speaker number 16, Vanessa Roper, are you present? Okay.
Congratulations to the new board members and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And congratulations to the new income superintendent, Dr. Leon. First, I just want to say very quickly in regards to the phones and tablets that are being distributed. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great service. The problem is you have teachers that do not allow the children to use the phones or the tablets. Now, as it relates to History High School, and I'm a parent at American History High School, the Newark Police Department director hangs out around that school. You have undercover officers who hang out in that area, as well as officers standing on the corner. Now, as it relates to the principal and the teachers of that building should have been reconstituted 2 years ago by the current superintendent, who was the former principal there. And the VPs that are there that have been there too long, that hide out in the office, should have been gone a long time ago. And if the current superintendent thought so well of them, why didn't he bring them to Cedar Street? But he left them at this school and they continue to don't know how to delegate discipline. And they hide in the office, or they punch in their clocks, and they leave the building.
Which building is he speaking of?
So this is what Mr. Denard inherited. It should have been addressed before he became the principal of that building, and any parent that came into that building he have showed respect to. And believe me, I am not a token parent. If you're not a good principal, I'll say so. If you're a good principal and working on becoming a better principal, I'll work with you and your staff. But the teachers, or the literacy teachers that was in that building, need literacy coaches and some staff development. And they should have never been placed there in the first place. If History High School is going to become successful, these teachers have to go. These are the same teachers that give our children zeros, you guys. They don't comply to district standards of it's 55 and up. They believe in 55 and down. And they fail our kids, and they say they don't care as long as they get a paycheck. Now, as it relates to another big issue, the big topic, special ed, I'm warning Newark. I'm not up here begging this board or anyone else. I will be more than happy to work with Dr. Leon. I respect the general counsel. But this farce of special education that you pulled off here in Newark, you know what you did, especially particular to JFK. You pulled most of those kids from out-of-district placements because you wanted the money. You did not provide them with any services, and you built a babysitting network, and you put a principal in there who didn't even have special education credentials. Me and my wife just adopted a son in JFK, became guardians over, who was there for 6 years, who they sat in a room and said because he was cognitively impaired that he wasn't teachable. And they left him there. Now, listen to me, you guys. I know I'm finished. I want to meet with the special education department. I want to know the principal that's going to be in that building. I filed a grievance in administrative law. If the district does not change some demands of JFK, either service my son or we want an out-of-district placement, and we're going to let a judge decide it. And every special ed parent that's in here, these people are not telling you the truth. They're not servicing our kids. Let's fight it out in court. You guys have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Roper. Next speaker, Lucius Jones. Is Lucius here?
I don't see him.
Next speaker, Elena Rusa.
Good evening. My name is Elena Russo. I live in Verona, 65 Dorvant Avenue. And I'm here because I received a letter of termination. So I'm nervous because I'm new in Newark, but I will read. Sunday night is my favorite night because I know when I wake up, I will get to teach. I have been an art teacher and special ed teacher in Newark for 3 years. I worked and studied very hard for this opportunity, and next to my son, it is the most important things in my life. My passion and dedication to children of Newark will never been questioned by anyone who knows me, and I have many letters of recommendation that reflect this. Since receiving my letter of dismissal, I have been thinking where I failed. This past year, I was a special ed teacher at Wilson Avenue in inclusion class with 28 fifth graders, 12 of whom were special ed students with IEPs. I'm very proud of the growth the students shown. On average, these 12 students increased 172 Lexile on SRI and expected only 75 or 100 Lexile per year. 5 students moved up in their preparedness group, and 5 students earned places on an honor roll. 2 students are transitioning to a mainstream classroom next year. But what I'm most proud of, that is one of my students with a selective mutism who has never talked to a teacher, finally spoke in a class on May 7. What a blessed day this was. It was if you read my first 2 observation summaries, I imagine you not wanted to teach me Newark. But reality is that my first observation wasn't until mid-January. With my post-observation conference, the day before my second observation, I didn't have time to make changes. I didn't have time to reflect, to think about What I also realized was that I was not my typical self while being observed. I'm the type of person that is always looking to improve, to learn and grow. After my third observation, my vice principal commented how incredible it was that I have improved so much from my last observation. Another mistake I made is that I trusted my administration to provide me with all of the required training made for teachers under the cap. I asked many times for help and believed the promises that were made. When I asked my principal why I wasn't being rehired, she said, "You need a lot of training and I don't have time for this." In my worst nightmare, I cannot imagine a worse answer to give someone who is trying as hard as they can but need help. I went home and cried, thinking it's not worthy of her time. I am here to tell you that I am worth all of your time, just as Newark children have always been worthy of mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russo. We will send your concern over to Labor Relations. And now we'll move on to the next speaker, Lyndon Brown. Not present. We'll move on to the next speaker, Wilhelmina Holder. Not appearing. We'll move on to the next speaker, Adrian Jenkins. We'll move on to the next speaker, Chantel Jenkins. Not appearing. We'll move on to the next speaker, Patricia Noon. Why? That's not nice.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patricia Noon. I am a Newark resident. My children attend William H. Horton School, Dr. William H. Horton School. Today I am here to share some major concerns that I have about Horton Street School. My 7th grade son has not yet had a certified literacy teacher in 4 years, and no certified math teacher this year. The school has not complied with his 504 first, and now his IEP. I am putting the special ed department and district on notice because of the non-compliance. It has affected my son's education. But the district wants to keep my son there even though they can't comply to his IEP just for no other reason than their budget. Administration and staff want to punish my son as well as other students whose 504s, IEPs, and INRS are not being followed. Their special education have programs with no services, and they are passing kids who parents they like and who don't understand the services their child should be receiving, which means using his personal aide as a classroom aide. My 8th grade son was denied an INRS by his guidance counselor and his teachers, which was requested back in June of 2017. I put it in writing in October 2017 and did not receive a denial letter until I requested a meeting regarding his INRS that I had been asking about throughout the year, which the meeting was in May. These actions affected my son's grades and his high school placement. I am asking for a district investigation because I believe my son was targeted by these people due to my complaints against the PTA and the PTO at Horton. 7th grade literacy class is off the hook. While teachers sleep or sit back and do nothing, I have videos that they were posted on the internet by the students in the class. I had already filed complaints to the administration before I secured the videos that I was told they were working on it. While working on it, some students were injured by sharp flying objects that were being thrown in the class. No parental involvement except their token parents who do not question anything, just do as they're told. As an 8th grade parent, we were not involved in any decisions regarding their 8th grade social, trip, or graduation. Even though we asked continuously, they said we would be included, and we were not. The parent liaison needs to be replaced because she has not tried to work or communicate with parents unless it benefits the school administration and staff. Picking up lunch for administrators and staff does not count as parental involvement. Also, why is the parent liaison putting students' grades into the system? Why was there never any parent volunteers? I asked about that, and all the principal said is that she's working.
Excuse me, Ms. Noon, your time is up. Thank you.
I'm finished. And I am requesting a meeting with our new superintendent. Congratulations, Dr. Leon, in order to resolve some of these issues.
Thank you, Ms. Noon. And now we will move on to the next speaker, Ms. Denise Cole.
Denise Cole, 2 Care. You turned my mic off before I started. Denise Cole, 2 Care Avenue, apartment 5D in Newark, New Jersey. Alternate address 765 Bank Street, the Board of Education. You're gonna see me a lot this year, Roger. You know, for me to hear teachers come up here and say that they're being fired brings grave concern. Roger Leon, make it your business, please, to bring Charlotte Hitchcock back to this district. That's the first hire you need to make, and you need to let Arson continue to read what he's been reading to us because he's not making an impact in this district. Really, he's not. Second of all, I am dismayed that this board sits up here and you hear these teachers come up here and you're the governing body and you act like you don't know. You act like you haven't been told about these PTAs and PTOs that you need to get together. You need to get a priority list going. And you need to start checking your priority list off. And before I forget, please, communication director, can you put on that site a confirmation number so we know the number we are? Because I know I wasn't at the bottom of that list. They wanted to hope that time ran out before, not you, I don't know who it is, but time ran out before I got up here. But we need numbers. We need confirmation numbers to know that is administered when we sign up for online. That's not hard to do. Let's try to do something, rocket scientists, that don't take time. It is ironic for me to come up here today. I want to give accolades to Dr. Alan McMillan and Brad Haggerty, and I usually don't do that. But I've been owing them accolades because of a meeting I went to, and actually they did an excellent presentation and we had excellent dialogue. And so that I don't get choked, because I said I was gonna give them accolades, and this was 3 months ago and I ain't gave them accolades yet. So I wanna hand out your accolades today. Mr. Gregory, I love you. And I am saddened to see you go as the interim superintendent, but I know Mr. Leon is going to keep you on board to continue to work with us. I am happy to see that. I want to thank the Community Engagement Department for reaching out, that I had some concerns at George Washington Carver, that I will talk off the record with Ms. Gaddy, who is the board representative for the South Ward. I will talk off record with you about my issues with that. And I thank all of you for your service, but please, chair and vice chair, you need to learn more, because you missed some of the trainings before you got hired on the things that people were coming up here talking about, that I know for a fact you haven't received that training, and you need to get on point with that training. Because this district is sorely losing out. This is more of a charter board than a traditional public school board, and you're trying to get rid of our qualified teachers, and that's not going to happen quietly. It's not going to happen with that lease, that illegal lease that he's trying to set a precedent with at George Washington Carver. I'm telling you, y'all need to look into that. You're the governing body. That lease is inappropriate. And you need to have your legal department, or you have to get a lawyer to challenge that lease for SEEK at George Washington Carver. You need to, about that $75,000 held in their capital account and them choosing all the vendors, because that's not Newark Public School process. This is not a charter board. This is a traditional public school board that must follow Title 18, the Administrative Code, and the promulgated policies.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
For that parent council, it need to be changed, board, to parent community council. It is illegal just to have a parent council, because parent community is what's supposed to be involved in traditional public schools. And also, you need to look at the article where Newark is the most segregated district in the country right now.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
Newark is your most segregated district.
And we would like to now give the opportunity to speaker number 19, Lyndon Brown. I think he arrived.
That don't make sense.
Is he here? Mr. Brown?
Good evening, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. We apologize for our tardiness. We had our PTA cookout at 13th Avenue School, so we were on serving our parents. And we invite you all out tomorrow to 301 West Kinney Street for our citywide parent community CPAC cookout. Looking for you guys to come out. We're going to have plenty of food and a great fellowship at 4 o'clock, 301. And board members, we really need to see you at more commencements, prom, toast-offs, basketball, football games. I'm there. I would love to see at least 1 or 2 of you sometime. Our kids need that support, especially since a lot of the parents are working or can't make it. But we need to definitely come out. I did email pictures from our proms. They were all fabulous, and we had no incidents, and we're very happy about that. Weekways is tomorrow. I'll be there too. I want to talk about the laying off or discontinuation of a transition guidance counselor at our Newton Street site. You know, we have a lot of students in that alternative program trying to get their diploma. So to phase out that position for guidance counselor, transition coordinator is really a travesty. I worked with this woman, and I'm telling you, she's going with us to New York, to college fairs with our kids. She's taking her Saturdays and Sundays. I called her last June to tell her I had 25 spots at Felician College. She got 25 kids in 2 days, and they're on campus now, thriving. We need that position. I may not, emphasize that enough, but we need that transition coordinator, that guidance counselor at our Newton Street site. I don't care how much money it costs. We need to put children first and not worry about budgets all the time. Okay, and you saw on the screen earlier that Adrian and Chantel Jenkins were signed up to speak. They did not come tonight. Their son tried to commit suicide from being bullied at George Washington Carver, repeated meetings with the administration and the guidance counselor and the HIB bullying specialist have been futile. This boy tried to hang himself in the gym at the school, and I really need, some interventions there. And I don't know why these incidents are not, I see puzzled faces like, what's going on? Why I didn't know about that? That's a good question. Why didn't the principal tell you? 32 teachers have decided not to sign the contract at Lewis A. Spencer. They don't want to stay after the 340, 350, along with a whole host of other staff members across the district. We really need to go back to getting at 255 because we have a lot of teachers who are not willing to stay that late. They have families of their own. They want to do extracurricular activities, and then it cuts into our after-school program time. We need to cut that program out, and we need to go back to 255. Even when teachers come here from Montclair and Kane, and you want to hire them, and they find out there's a 340 or a 350 dismissal, they say, no, I don't want to go there. So now we have a lot of teachers who are highly qualified in the East and North Ward, but the Central, West Ward, South Ward are suffering. So we need to discontinue the extended day program. And our assistant superintendents, you really need to get on the ball with getting rid of some of these very, very ineffective and inexperienced principals, because it's really having an adverse effect. It's just not educationally sound to keep some of these people in these positions. And if you think that it is, then you need to resign. And I also want to tell you that our students, I know there's some graduating, but I'm sure there's a percentage that are not. We need an order as to how many kids are going to have to go to summer school, how many are going to be retained, how many have dropped out since September. We need to start doing a better job of tracking our students. Thank you, and have a great summer.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And now we would like to bring up speaker number 20, which has also arrived, Wilhelmina Holder.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, 765 Broad Street. I guess I would be living there too, or Bank Street. Is it Bank Street? And I too was at the cookout. I'm sorry we're a little late, but you know, when it's a cookout, you got to serve the children and the parents. We had a lot of fun, so that's why we're late. Because we also cleaned up because they don't have a lot of cleaning staff in the building. We didn't want to leave that burden on those people who work with us throughout the entire year. So we cleaned up. And so tonight I wanted to speak about the summer reading list. I know Mr. Haggerty promised us that they would have a follow-up meeting with the principal. I'm a little worried now because next week is the end of the school year. I don't understand why it takes 8 months to get a summer reading list together. We've been talking about this since September, if not before. Someone said, hold it, you've been talking about this for 2 years. And it's really a crime at this point. Also, the summer school enrollment piece, which Mr. Brown spoke of, is critical for us. And I'm really, really, really concerned about teacher vacancy. As I look and talk to teachers who are resigning, some of them are running out of here like flies, not for the piece of the extended day, but because they're transferring out of schools due to lack of support from them. And they quite tell you at this point, they don't get support in the building from their principals, so they're leaving. And I'm looking at the hard-to-fill area. So I'm just wondering, do we have any data on this? Who's leaving and the years of experience walking out the door? And more importantly, who's coming in the door in September? What does that look like? Do we have that number of folks in each school in terms of the hard-to-fill areas, the special needs, the ELL, and the science and the math? Do we have those numbers? Is every student going to have a highly qualified, competent teacher teaching in their core area in every classroom in every school in Newark in September? I would really be concerned about that. I'm going to ask about it at the retreat. I'm going to ask about it every time I show up somewhere, and send you emails as well, because we need those numbers now. If we're going to hit the ground running, we need to make sure that we're well positioned to do so. I don't want to see the children disservice any further, because that's important. And also the marketing plan should be for the district. We need a separate enrollment plan from the charter. Let them do their own thing. I'm not mad at them, but you have your own charter enrollment plan. We need a district enrollment plan and a district marketing plan to market the good and the excellent in our schools. Thank you.
Regarding the summer reading, I know you arrived a little late. It's just we were feeding the children at the cookout. But if you refer to the superintendent's report, the summer reading is listed on page 19. I'm not sure if there's some on the way out. If not, I'm sure you can receive a copy from Board Relation. And that concludes our speakers list. No, he's not here. Mm-mm. Okay, where are we going next? Executive session, right? A motion to. So a motion for executive session? Yeah. We can have a motion for executive session, please?
Motion.
Second. Regarding personnel items?
Who was it? Bledsoe, who?
Bledsoe and Norton.
This motion for enter into executive session, discuss personnel matters, moved by Mr. Bledsoe, second by Ms. Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Go into executive session.
Can I have a motion to reconvene? Motion.
Second.
Second.
I think I got Norton, Padilla. Motion to reconvene from executive session, moved by Norton, second by Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? We're back in open session.
And operations.
Thank you. Okay, voting items, board members. Finance and operations, 13.2 through 13.36. Okay.
Board Member Gaddy. You see?
My notes.
I didn't touch them.
Yambly.
Is this on? Okay. The first one I'll start with was just clarification on 13.13, the 15-passenger van for Central High School. I know it was donated. What year? Thank you. What year was the van? Who will be responsible as the driver?
Okay.
As well? 13:13, Tay.
As the board is aware, yesterday was the premiere of One Shot, which is a docuseries that follows the season of the Central High School basketball team. The company that was doing the docuseries or filming it actually came up with this suggestion late last week. And we have not worked out the details on the donation, but they wanted the board to at least be aware that they wanted to donate a van because they wanted to announce it at last night's premiere. They did do so. It is my expectation that we would be getting a brand new van. And therefore, I would say, 2017, 2018, that's what I'll be negotiating for. And the van would become, while it is donated to Central High School and is to support their basketball team, it now becomes district property and has to be maintained by the district motor transportation department in terms of servicing, maintenance, licensing, insurance, things of that nature, and would be driven by somebody authorized by the district to drive the vehicle.
Okay, thank you. 13.7, permission to sell school bus. What was that year? And is this the same bus we were talking about that we was going to repurpose for transportation of bands in the district, or is this another one?
This is another one, as far as I know. I don't have the actual details on the bus, but it is past its useful life, and we are trying to sell it, so we're asking permission to do so. It's no longer on the road and running. As you will remember, we bought 4 buses last year, and I think we bought 2 this year. We are still working on the approval for the band bus that we've suggested. It's actually ready, but we're having some difficulty in getting the appropriate approval since it's going to be used in transporting, it's a school bus. And it's not going to be yellow and all of that kind of stuff, even though it won't be transporting children. So we're working those details out.
Okay, thank you for that response. 13.8, recommendation to establish, this is actually for recycling.
Yes.
Our computers. And so I would like to recommend that we also establish an e-waste policy so we understand if we're going to reuse this or if it's going to be used for other use, that we have an e-waste policy on the district. Because oftentimes, depending on where you purchase the items from, now they are responsible to receive them.
Okay.
So I just want to ensure that as we are signing up for sustainable schools for New Jersey, right, try to make our district more green, that we are following the proper protocols and procedures with e-waste recycling.
So I think that would be referred to the legal committee for development. And I think that's a great idea.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I missed the meeting, so that's why I have all these.
That's fine.
13.10, authorization for the competitive contracting. I have some concerns around the model evaluation criteria. I just want to ensure, again, with these policies, that we have sound environmental policies such as recycling, energy efficiency, and waste reduction used again.
We will ensure that that's included. Competitive contracting is really required by statute, and the district does it on an annual basis so that when we do go out to bid for items or services, we are able to use that process. And then the actual award of a contract still has to come before the board for approval. But it's just a process by which you bid for services or items.
Okay, and then 1330, which was school due. I understand that our contract says it's a one-year renewal, but when I read the terms of service, it states that it's an automatic invoicing will occur at the end of each term. So we still have the right to extend it for 1 year, so we need to look at the terms of the contract because it's saying that it's automatic.
Okay, that nothing's automatic because all of our documentation indicates that vendors have to abide by our renewal process and timeline. So we would not have an automatic renewal. They may have it in their contract, and we'll make sure that legal takes that out.
Yes, because we're voting on it and it's in the contract. So
Okay.
that's why I wanted to make sure I
Okay.
flagged that. Then 13.36 is the 9,000 square feet, 2-year lease with the city of Newark. I just want to get some clarification. We're only requiring the city to pay us $1 for this space, and then they're going to pay the utility.
They're going
So I'm just confused that we will only charge $1.
As you are aware, this is a lease between the district and the actual city of Newark in terms of them being able to set up a mini precinct on the property at School Stadium. It's a community house that we have not used except for storage and access for our emergency vehicles, which we're retaining during football games and activities at the stadium. I will say that our negotiations began in a very different place. The past practice has been that when we rent from the city, we've paid $1 for their rentals. They are requesting that we provide them a lease for $1. Subsequent to that conversation, we negotiated with them cost of utilities, cost of repairs, things of that nature to offset the fact that we were not going to be paid market value for the lease.
Okay, and then my last concern is around the reserve fund. Encumbrances said that it was 868,000.
Which one are you doing?
I know I didn't write the number down.
I'm sorry.
But your reserve fund was off by a penny. But I'm just saying this because there's a lot of numbers, and if you're off by a penny, and we had $1 million budget.
Billion.
We have $1 billion budget, and you're off by a penny on several different locations, that's a
adds
lot
up.
of money.
That's up.
So I'm concerned about that.
We'll look
But
at
I know
that,
this
Ms.
is the figure. It was, when I calculated. So now, I didn't want to have to calculate every page, but when you see one mistake, it just, I'm just saying, business administrator, just please have
Typically,
somebody check
I
those
wouldn't
numbers.
categorize it as a mistake. Typically, in a budget of that size, you round up, and a penny is a rounding item. I do take the information, and we will look at our numbers.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, so we had the finance and operations items.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson, can you explain Public Law, Chapter 47? I think it's 13. My computer died, so it's there. 15? 13, 15? Can you explain that?
13, 15.
13, 15.
Yeah, because there are multiple contracts in the attachment.
This is a relatively new statute, probably about 2 years old. There's a requirement on the part of districts to publicly advertise and also notify their board on an annual basis all of the contracts that they enter into. Service contracts, purchasing of equipment, things of that nature.
So these are all contracts?
So these are all contracts that have been listed. What we do as a district, based on the volume of purchases that we make, we advertise our contracts on a quarterly basis. So we advertise them 4 times throughout the year. This is the board's notification of those contracts. At our finance meeting, Board Member Norton asked for a listing of all contracts, which we are in the process of preparing for the board. That listing will include contract number, contract term, vendor, description of services, and amount of contract. So as you can understand, it's a very large file, just looking at the number of contracts that are here. But this is actually meeting the obligation of the district to publicly notify and say, here are the contracts. So you will get the detail within the probably next week and a half.
Okay. And 13.16, I believe, the designated of the QPA, what I think it's called.
Okay. I am the district's qualified purchasing agent. It is a certification that I carry that allows us to be able to have a bid threshold of $40,000. If I did not have that certification, the district would be limited to a bid threshold of, I think it's either $29,000 or $17,000. And as you are familiar, having been a member of the Finance Committee, a lot of our contracts are significantly over that. So it produces our bid threshold, and every year you have to, these are sort of annual things you're seeing. So the annual piece is that I am being appointed as the QPA and also what's called the public contracting officer.
The reason why I asked the question because it says ideally the business administrator, but you're not listed. I didn't know if we were designating this to multiple people. It needs to be clear.
Okay.
And that's why I raised the question.
So you like my name? Yeah. It hereby designates me.
Yeah. But are we designating multiple people?
No, we're not.
Okay.
No. So as your QPA, we have several in the district. Our procurement director, Ms. Spriggs, is a QPA. My assistant business administrator, Mr. Sanande, is also a QPA. But my QPA is the one that represents the district, and therefore I sign all purchase orders.
Okay.
Purchase order is not valid unless my signature is affixed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, ready to vote? Okay, so we're dealing with finance, operations, purchasing, facility items through 13.36. Is there a motion to take these items as a package?
Motion. Second.
Moved by Ms. Garcia, second by Ms. Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, we're going to take them as a package. Is there a motion to approve these items?
Motion.
Norton.
Second.
Gomez. This motion to approve all finance, operations, purchasing, facilities items through 13.36. Roll call, Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy?
Yes.
Ms. Gomez?
Yes.
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Ms. Owens?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Chair Garcia?
Yes.
Okay, it carries. Legal items. So legal item, as we discussed, 14.5, the personnel pending ratification item has been withdrawn. So is there a motion to take all other items as a package with that item? You want to take them separately?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we take out 14.6?
Okay. Is there a motion to vote on all items except for 14.6?
Motion.
Also, too, can we take out the award of legal contracts?
Okay. Okay, so let's do it this way. So 14.2, okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Norton, which one was it, did you want?
14.6.
14.6. And
sorry, that's the same.
That's the same one, right?
It's the same one.
Okay. And 14.5 is withdrawn, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so is there a motion to vote on all items except for 14.5.
Motion.
Which has been withdrawn. Let me finish the motion. And 14.6.
She's super excited.
Okay, so I got Ms. Norton and Ms. Garcia. This is a motion to vote on all items with the exception of 14.5 and 14.6. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, that carries. Now let's vote on these. Is there a motion to actually approve all items except for 14.5 and 14.6?
Motion.
Gomez.
Second.
I have Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Who's that, Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Mr. Bledsoe abstaining. Legal items approved. We have 14.5 and 14.6. So we're not voting on 14.5 because it's been withdrawn. Only remaining legal item is 14.6. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Norton. Garcia.
What is this?
This, Reggie, this is the 14.6 now, the one you want to see separately? Okay, everybody following me?
Yes.
Okay, 14.6, this is the legal service agreements. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, I got Norton and Bledsoe abstaining. Motion carries with Norton and Bledsoe abstaining.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Board Member Norton.
Yes, so I'm abstaining because I have family members that work for the legal firms.
Okay.
It should be aye.
And we dealt with all those items. And now, for personnel, as we discussed, we're going to be adding the 15.14, which is the vote on the superintendent contract subject to approval by the county and state. Let me just have a motion to amend personnel to include that item.
Motion.
Second.
Garcia and Bledsoe.
I'm sorry, can you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is okay. So we're adding, as we talked about, the item to vote on the superintendent contract under personnel. So this would just be a motion to add that to the personnel items. Okay, I have Ms. Garcia and Mr. Bledsoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've added the superintendent contract. Now can I have a motion to vote on all personnel items together?
Madam Chair, I'd like to separate 15.3.
15.3, okay. Any other board members want to separate? Okay. 15.3 to student growth measure. Okay, is there a motion to vote on all items except for 15.3?
Motion.
Norton.
Second.
Garcia. There's a motion to vote on all items together except for 15.3. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this is a motion to actually vote to approve those items, everything except for 15.3. Okay, a motion?
Motion.
Gomez.
Second.
Garcia. This is a motion to approve all personnel items with the exception of 15.3. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? That carries. Those items are approved. Sole remaining item was the 15.3 item that Ms. Leah wanted to pull. Is there a motion to vote on that item? 15.3, adoption of student growth measure equivalency. Is there discussion?
Motion.
Okay, who wants to move it? Okay, Padilla, is there a second?
Aye. I'm sorry.
Norton. Second. It's the motion to vote on 15.3, the adoption of student growth measure equivalency, moved by Mr. Padilla, second by Ms. Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Ms. Owens abstains. Mr. Bledsoe abstains. Motion carries. Program and instruction, Ms. Owens, we do not have any, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I just had one question in reference to program instruction. The approval of field trips, did we approve any trips that was, with a cost associated to students? I just would like to know that.
Cost associated to the district.
Well, I know the district assumes the cost, but was there any additional cost for students and parents? No?
That I don't know. But no, he's asking a different question, not cost to district, you're saying cost to
students.
families,
Yeah.
students. We don't normally, can I finish 1 second? Yes? Okay, hey. We don't normally get that level of detail, so that's just something that we would have to follow up on if you want to know.
Okay.
So yes, you want to know?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make sure. Thank you.
Okay. I do not believe there are any other items on the agenda. We have a motion to, right?
Was
There's no
earlier.
program instruction items.
No, because usually the only thing is field trips, and we had no field trips at cost, and a few field trips did come in last minute, and we did a poll vote via email.
Okay. We vote on all items, right, Ms. Jones? And program instruction? I thought there, Ms. Owens, are there voting items? I'm
They're
not
not
aware.
on the agenda.
We can ratify.
We can ratify it. So we'll do it now.
Can we
Put
do it
for
now?
August.
Just add it now.
Okay,
Once
let's
it
do
was
it now.
voted on.
Why is it not there?
Yeah, it should be listed.
All right, what are the items that the board's voting on?
Field trips.
Except for program instruction, which was a poll vote. We can ratify tonight and vote on it.
Okay.
Field trips.
Field trips.
Okay, so Ms. Owens, do you know the field trips that they're
Field trips
ratifying?
for the month of June.
Is that what it is?
Boom.
Okay, so this is a vote to ratify the field trips for the month of June. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Bledsoe? Second, Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Nope.
Okay. I think that's all the business the board has for tonight.
Motion.
Is that a motion to adjourn, Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes, motion.
Second. Mr. Padilla, second. All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hold on.
Meeting adjourned. Good night.
Motion made, second Padilla.
Separately.